table away from the microphone when they are not in use. And a reminder that comments between members should be addressed through the chair. And pursuant to Standing Order 1083H, the committee is receiving a briefing of the RCMP's decision not to pursue an investigation in relation to the SNC-Lavalin affair. And before I introduce our witnesses and before the Commissioner makes his opening statement, I want to advise the committee that I've exercised my prerogative as the chair to invite the RCMP before the committee today. I did so in the backdrop of recently released documents where we have learned that the RCMP wanted to investigate whether criminal activity had been committed in the SNC-Lavalin affair, but they couldn't because they apparently weren't given access to cabinet documents. It was reported that the RCMP commissioner personally made the request and that the request was denied. This raises many questions, so I wanted to give the committee an opportunity to ask these questions. In addition, last week, in a question put to the Public Safety Minister in question period about this, he responded, and I quote, "My honourable friend knows very well the RCMP operations are conducted independently from government. If he has an operational question for them, I would suggest that he contact the RCMP." In a published report this morning, the Prime Minister's office, like the Public Safety Minister, suggested directing questions to the RCMP, which brings us to this moment. Given the public interest in this, the recent work and recommendations of the Committee on Access to Information as it relates to Cabinet confidentiality, the comments of both the Public Safety Minister and the Prime Minister's office, and an opportunity that presented itself in the Committee's calendar, I want to thank the Commissioner and the Staff Sergeant for making themselves available today, and I now welcome the Commissioner to provide an opening statement, followed by questions.
Excuse me, may I have the floor? May I have the floor? May I put a question? May I provide a response to what you've just said?
Poser des questions par rapport au fait que je suis très déçue de voir que vous avez pris cette liberté d'inviter la GRC.
Okay, hang on. There's no translation, apparently.
I'm very saddened to hear that you've taken such freedom, if I can put it that way, to invite the RCMP of your own wish. We learned late Friday afternoon, I think it was about 5 to 5, around the meeting, that we had discussed, of course, on Wednesday that we would continue our study on TikTok. Usually, a message is sent out 48 hours ahead for any change to schedule, any invitations. I think this was terribly last minute. The fact that you were already discussing the appearance of the RCMP at that time, and perhaps the clerk would be able to confirm that is the case. They were invited Wednesday morning, it seems, to appear before us today. This had not been discussed whatsoever by the committee. I think the committee should at least have had the opportunity to debate a motion presented in due form. I don't think this is necessarily the best way to go forward, having committees unable to make their decisions. So based on this reasoning, I would like to adjourn the meeting.
Okay. Just hang on a sec, Madam Fortier.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
So you're officially moving to adjourn the meeting today?
Yes, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Point of order, Chair. Well, it's a non-debatable motion, Mr. Barrett, unfortunately. Were you asking this on a point of order, Madame Fortier? You were just making a...
Well, Chair, that's not how these meetings are conducted. Yeah. You read your remarks. She interrupted you.
It's not.
The witnesses were to give.
I want to hear what he has to say.
The witnesses were to give testimony. And now we have government members looking to shut down a hearing on a very serious matter with respect to a criminal investigation into the Prime Minister, and we have the Commissioner of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police at the table. This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable.
I'm going to ask you for a second, please, to just refrain. So, Madame Fortier had the floor. She moved the motion. The motion is not debatable, so we're going to have to go to the vote. And I assume that there's no agreement on this.
Certainly, there's no agreement to shut down a meeting when we have the commissioner.
Chair, sorry,
Please.
Chair, that's very,
Yeah.
Chair.
Okay, we're dealing with this right now, so I've made my ruling. We are going to go to the vote because it's a non-debatable motion. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Madame Fortier a proposé que la réunion soit adjournée.
Madame Fortier has moved that the motion be adjourned.
Yes.
Ms. Damoff,
Yes.
Mr. Kellaway,
Yes.
Madame Fortier,
Oui.
Ms. Khalid,
Yes.
Mr. Barrett,
No.
Monsieur Gourde.
No.
Mr. Kirk,
No.
Monsieur Villemur. Mr. Desjardins.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeas 7, nays 3.
Okay, thank you. The vote has passed. With apologies to the Commissioner and the Staff Sergeant, this meeting is adjourned.
L'honorable député de Leeds Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
After 8 years of this Prime Minister, when there's now cover-ups about his cover-ups, it's clear that he's not worth the cost. Yesterday, the NDP-Liberal government sent their members to shut down the testimony from the RCMP Commissioner about the investigation into the Prime Minister's SNC-Lavalin scandal. This is the same investigation that he blocked the release of documents to when they were investigating whether or not he obstructed justice. My question is to the Chair of the Standing Committee on Access to Information, Privacy and Ethics. On what date will the Commissioner of the RCMP appear at the committee?
L'honorable président du comité, le député de Barrie Innisfil.
Speaker, I can't begin to tell you my profound disappointment in the fact that the NDP-Liberal coalition chose to shut down and adjourn the meeting before it happened. I can assure you, Mr. Speaker, that proper notice was given. In fact, I emailed the vice chairs of the committee as well as other committee members 72 hours before the meeting occurred. Now, I took advantage in my position as chair to invite the RCMP, given the latest information that had been released. Public Safety Minister suggested that if we had any questions to the RCMP, that we pose it to them. I took that opportunity. I can't tell the member when the next opportunity will be, but I hope it's soon, Mr. Speaker.
À l'ordre.
Order.
L'honorable député de Leeds Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
Well, I hope they were paying attention, Mr. Speaker. That's the first time we've had a question actually answered in this House in 8 years. The Prime Minister and the Public Safety Minister both said that the RCMP Commissioner was the one to answer questions, and he was sitting at the table yesterday, and they adjourned the meeting as part of their ongoing cover-up. They blocked it just like the Prime Minister blocking the release of those documents into the criminal investigation that was concerning him. After 8 years of this Prime Minister and his detrimental effect on our democratic institutions, it's clear he's not worth the cost. To the leader of the NDP, is protecting the Prime Minister from criminal investigations part of their coalition deal?
As I mentioned before in a previous question, opposition leaders are not invited to do that, only members of the government, parliamentary secretaries, or chairs of committees. If there is a minister who would like to answer this question, I recognize the Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the member well knows, committees are in charge of their own business and they make those decisions themselves. But if he wants to talk about democratic institutions and criminal investigations, I will remind him that it was a member of the governing Conservatives that was arrested for violating election laws and actually went to jail. So he should be careful as he's casting stones in glass houses. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.